That's the reason I know he'll bring you out and you won't smell like smoke. See, I'll be in the den and I'll be letting you know. Don't worry about the lion. You got to come out of this. And you'll wonder, how does he know? I just come out the den. I just came out of one. See, jump to your feet right now and just give God a praise if you know God's still delivering folk. Your name ain't Daniel, but you know he's still bringing folks out. You ain't the 3 Hebrew boys, but you know he'll bring you out the fire. Oh, somebody better turn in victory if you got it. That's when you have to be effective. But don't miss this. Sometimes when you're effective at proclaiming the goodness of God, people don't get saved, but their heart is pricked. So I don't even know if the church really know what the pricking of the heart means, because sometimes we say stuff like, Lord, prick the sinner heart. Prick the heart of the backslider. Prick the heart of my son that he gets saved. You recognize that when something gets pricked, that hurt. See, you're talking about God sending a word that hurt, that'll cause them to see themselves. Prick their heart. See, some folk got to go to jail for their heart get pricked. Some folk got to go to the ER before their heart get pricked. Somebody got to lose everything before their heart get pricked. But sometimes God uses us, and our testimony is effective in that it pricks the heart of somebody that don't know God. And if that's what God meant for your testimony to do, then you have been effective. That's where you have to learn when to speak, and when God is finished, you have to learn to close it. Because sometimes what we say causes people to come under conviction, and once you said what it is that God would have for you to say, the conversation is over. So you see, this is some good teaching, because some folk will sit around and talk conviction off of people by going into carnal things when God didn't want you dealing with carnal things. He wanted you to share with them something. And once you do that, your job is finished. The first warning is that you absolutely cannot proclaim the goodness of God if you are always sad, unhappy, depressed, or miserable. You cannot proclaim God's goodness if you're not in the place you need to be. He don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what your neighbor going through. You don't know what the person in front of you going through. You don't know what the person in the back of you are going through. Everybody, if they're truly saved, they're going through something. But as a child of God, we have to be able to go through and do what James said. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials. We have to know how to have some act right in us, even though things are not going right at the house. You have to know how to stay happy despite what you are going through. Why? Because you never know when you need to proclaim the goodness of God, and people know you're battling, but you ain't letting them see it. You yet coming to church giving God the praise, though you are battling in your body. You refuse to sit down and become an ice cube. You know, even though you're going through something tough, you got to stay on fire for God. You got to give God the praise. There are some folks in here this morning. Yeah, you're going through some things, but you know you got to stay on fire for your God. You know you cannot witness or proclaim the goodness of God, and you always say it. Always. Y'all ever had a miserable person try to witness to you? They telling you something good about God, and it's as if you don't even believe that. I found out in my life the times when I am most effective. Y'all ready for this? It's when I'm going through something. It's when I not only can preach about the fire, but I'll be in the fire that I'm preaching about. That's the reason I know he'll bring you out and you won't smell like smoke. See, I'll be in the den and I'll be letting you know. Don't worry about the lion. You got to come out of this. And you'll wonder, how does he know? I just come out the den. I just came out of one. See, jump to your feet right now and just give God a praise if you know God's still delivering folk. Your name ain't Daniel, but you know he's still bringing folks out. You ain't the 3 Hebrew boys, but you know he'll bring you out the fire. Oh, somebody better turn in victory if you got it. Let your neighbor know God will bring you out. Y'all got to do something this morning. You got to go to 2 folk and tell them God's still delivering folk. Whoa, look sad if you want to. God's still bringing people out. I'm finna drop one on y'all. God's still making folk multi-millionaires. God had made more millionaires than AT&T. God had made more millionaires than Apple. Am I right about that? Is God still blessing folk? Praise him like he's still blessing people. He's still doing it. He's still doing miracles. Folks are still getting healed. The dead are still being raised. The blind are still seeing. The deaf are hearing. God is still God. God is on the throne. Before you be seated, shout to 2 folk, God is still on the throne. Be seated, be seated, be seated. But see, does your testimony, does your attitude as a Christian say to people that he on the throne? Or do you exalt the devil and put him on the throne? You can go through something at a grocery store that will have the average person cussing and fighting, but you sitting there just handling it with calm. And little do you know, a person that's just standing back just watching and just saying to themselves, how can she remain so calm? How can she have so much peace? And they're speaking to her like that. See, some of you think you got to rail for rail. I'm going to show them they ain't going to just run. But see, you got to be careful. Jesus, when they were persecuting him, he still knew how to have peace. Pilate was trying to get smart with Jesus and told, do you not know the power that I have? I got power to let you go. I got power to crucify. Do you not know who I am? Jesus didn't argue with Pilate. He simply said, even now, you would have no power except that which is given to you of my Father. And do you not know that if I desired to, I could call angels? Did not let Pilate take his peace. And at the same time, he was being a witness on the cross. The very ones that crucified him, when they saw how he handled the crucifixion, you know what they said? Truly, this is the Son of God. Why? They never saw anybody in that much pain sit up there and say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Being an effective, which tells me that there are times that people can wrong us, but you don't need to wrong them back. They lie, but you don't need to lie. You need to be an effective witness and let God deal with your enemies. Listen, I got to move on, but listen. I said Wednesday night, if we would learn how to use our mouth, if we realize how powerful words are and talk justly or righteously, that God will not only defeat enemies, but when you know how to use your mouth, God through you will defeat an enemy. I said this Wednesday. That you will not have to fight anymore. Oh yeah, I did. I said it when. I said there are some enemies that God wants us to do what David did to Goliath. He wants you to not only defeat the enemy, but cut his head off. Don't let him get back up. Cut his head off. You don't need to see that, no. Less than 48 hours when we got out of that service, somebody had a testimony of something they've been battling for over 2 years. A persistent enemy. But they got a phone call. And the phone call said basically the battle is over. Not only have you won the battle, but it can never come against you again. Oh God, do you think he just spoke that for one person? Do you not know that what some of us are battling, it's time to cut the See, I decided with my giving that I was done struggling paycheck to paycheck, broke. I said, I'm going to cut the head off poverty. It'll be a giant my children won't see. I've slayed the giant. I got to close this. He called them out of darkness. When you truly been saved, you've been called out of darkness. Now let me break this down. Because he ain't saying you was in a closet with no light. That's literal. When he said you've been called out of darkness, you've been called out from practicing sin. You are no longer a sinner. Do we still sin? Sometimes. Oh, didn't get but two. Didn't get but two. Do we mess up sometimes? Do we fall sometimes? Do we say things that we just should not have said? Do we even think things? One scripture said even the very thought of foolishness is sin. Sometimes there's a thought that's foolish. Foolish. I ain't talking about the things you would think. The cigarettes, the drinking, the clubbing, this, that, and that. Sometimes when you're battling and you don't think God gonna pull you through, that's foolishness. When you're going through it and you wonder, where is God? He said he would be here. That's thinking foolishly. So you'd be surprised folk that be so high and mighty because their sins are basically inward while they crucify people whose sins are outwardly. When unbelief is a sin. If you doubt God, you in sin. If God said you're going to get a miracle Friday and you doubt the miracle, you in sin. And that's what he called us out of. When you truly get saved, there's a lifestyle change. And you don't come to church looking for justification to mess up. You come and you don't mind the preacher calling you to the mat, if you will, and letting you know, reminding you when your attitude is nasty and jacked up. He has to remind you that you're a holy nation. Can I preach it right? Has to remind the wife that you ain't no regular woman. You don't talk to no man like that. You don't disrespect your husband like you're a holy nation. I had a few wives get with me. But I mean, know there are times we act ways that God has reminded us, hey, you're a holy nation.